Hello, 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 good people. It is time for another Zoomin with Zack. Super excited to be back. I actually haven't done an episode in a couple weeks. It's been a very busy close to the month of May, but super excited to be back live on LinkedIn, live on the MyNEWPhilly Facebook page. By all means, please share the show. You know we got an awesome guest today, so super excited to get into it. And again, thanks for being here. So it was a beautiful Thursday, the 17th. It's a great week. Juneteenth is coming up, which is officially a federal holiday. So super excited that is happening. And you notice I have a quote next to me here. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. That's a Michael Jordan quote. I really need that to apply to Doc Rivers because he's failed in the playoffs a whole lot, and I need him to succeed, especially tomorrow night. But that's a whole nother story, and it gets depressing to talk about it, so I won't go into it. But I'm super excited to have an awesome guest. As you know, we're doing the show a little differently. I used to tease you on who the guest is. Now I'm just letting people know who these folks are right even before we do the show. So there's no suspense, but the dude I got with me, he knows a little bit about suspense and acting and being in front of the camera. He also knows a little bit about behind the camera as well. Happy to introduce my good friend, Mr. Kyree Terrell. How are you, sir? He's currently on mute. Here we go.
I was really just mouthing it just to be funny. Just.
He was adding some suspense to our show. Great. How are you, good friend?
I can't complain, man, except for about that game last night. That's about the only thing.
Buddy. Painful. But we won't talk about like the worst playoff loss in Sixers history. Let's talk about a couple things we have in common. One, MyNEWPhilly. As many of you guys may or may not know, I hope you know. If you know me, I've been shouting out MyNEWPhilly from the rooftop for the last 5 years. But MyNEWPhilly is actually a product of this man's genius, Mr. Kyree Terrell. So Kyree is not only the founder of MyNEWPhilly, but he's also the owner of Focus Studios, which he's been doing for the past, 10 plus years. This dude is 100% self-taught videographer and is now one of the most sought after videographers in Philly. Kyree, tell us a little bit about Focus Studios and really the start of MyNEWPhilly, how you got to the point where you brought MyNEWPhilly to life.
Not a problem. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Zachary James.
Oh, man. Hey, Rick.
Content. I've been a content fanatic for a very long time. Since before Instagram was a thing. I remember, I remember when Twitter had just got photo sharing and people were up in arms about that. Oh, you can share a picture on Twitter now. But one of the things that really fascinated me was the iPhone. And my son Cat, he's 15. I remember the iPhone came out the same summer he was born, and I remember being floored by the ability just to swipe through your photos in your photo gallery on this touchscreen. I remember just being like, wow. And so at that time, I wasn't a content creator yet. I just was fascinated by the technologies. But I was a showman. I was a performer. Around that time, I was doing plays. I was doing, reality shows, some that saw the light of day, some that didn't. I was doing a ton of modeling and all of those sorts of things. So I was a showman. I was interested in the craft. But what led me into becoming my own content creator and subsequently creating Focus Studios was just the lack of roles that were available for either people who look like me, people who, were as talented as me, or people even in the space that look like me.
Right.
And you're not talking about too long ago. I mean, you're talking about 14, 15 years ago, that this was a prevalent thing, and obviously still today it's a prevalent thing. But what I said is, I said, you know what, I'm going to learn how to do it and create my own opportunities. So that thought alone is how I got into content creation. And then that thought and that need it just started to grow for me. So I started Focus Studios really before I even started Focus Studios as a company, as a LLC. I just started practicing. I started picking up any camera tool I could find. I started watching any free thing online. And what a lot of people don't know is when I first started, like right now, you can go on YouTube and you can literally, Google search or YouTube search almost anything and find how it's done or how to do it online. I promise you guys, when I first started editing, when I first started with cameras and the whole nine, there were not a ton of channels and content creators and things like that out there that were doing these teaching segments. So I literally had to go out trial and error and learn these things. And I did a lot of that before I even started my company, Focus Studios. Focus Studios is a full service video production company. We do contract out for photography and other things like that, but essentially I'm a videographer, filmmaker, director, and editor at heart. So that's the real strength of Focus Studios, is we can produce any type of video content that you should need. And it'd be really hard for you to ask me if I've done X and me not say yes after all of this time. I've literally done it all. And to Zach's point, I went from being the guy that had a camera and a hole in the wall events all of the time to now the guy who's behind literally some of the tri-state's biggest event recaps. And that's just a testament to how bad I wanted it. I feel like this is somewhat of a basketball Thursday. So the reference I always give people is I grew up watching AI. I grew up watching this little guy who was undervalued, underappreciated, underdrafted, you name it. This guy put it all out on the floor every night. And I said, you know what? I want to model my company that way. I want to be the person who they don't really think can do it, but I'm going to figure out a way to get it done. And that's why Focus Studios has been successful, because unlike Ben Simmons, I love to shoot my shot. And I had to.
I mean, it's very true.
I've been a Ben Simmons hater since day one, but nonetheless, I said I was going to get out there and I was going to do it. In the midst of doing that, and I don't want to waste all the time on this because I know you got some questions, but in the midst of doing that, working in and about and around the city, I just saw so many great things that people just didn't have, the things that didn't have the either exposure at all or the proper exposure. And I just was like, somebody needs to create a platform that really gives these businesses and people and places and things some exposure and identity, some video content. So I started the story about the iPhone and social media, all of those things, just my fascination with the iPhone, social media, different platforms that were popping up and all of that became this idea that was MyNEWPhilly. I just wanted to shoot video content and make it accessible via social media, short video content clips and things like that. And we've taken turns for every which way in the 6 years now that we've been around. Got to put a big old fat asterisk on 2020, but kind of where we are now is getting into a nonprofit space and a teaching space and figuring out a way to still be able to service the small businesses in the area the way that we wanted to.
Right. And you're very correct, Rick. AI would not have let that happen last night.
Hell no, AI wouldn't.
Well, I will throw a little more bouquets your way. Me having come back to Philly in 2014, you and MyNEWPhilly were like one of the first brands that actually like trusted me to come in and like help them grow their business and brand. And again, my mindset at that point was I'm going to help them sell. I'm going to sell commercials. I'm going to sell video production. And even though I was learning how to do that, it's your fault. I got bit by the content bug. I done fell in love with making content. I started off with sports content, then the real estate content. And started sticking my nose in everybody's content, and whether that was appreciated or not, it's changed me from more of a sales marketing guy to more of a content creation marketing guy who also knows sales, which is a really good combination. So I do owe you a lot of credit for helping me in that transition. And the other cool thing was like all the opportunities and careers that MyNEWPhilly has bred, people who have sort of cut their teeth and learned their skill sets at MyNEWPhilly, who have moved on to amazing careers in news and media and production and videography and behind the camera, in front of the camera. It's really impressive what's been built. So, kudos to you. And of course, Ebony Dukes, who's president at MyNEWPhilly, one of my past guests, and all the people that have had a great hand, folks like Vern and Ariande Till, and the names list can go on and on. We'd be here for 20 minutes shouting them out. But hell of a movement, and I know COVID has changed a lot of things for MyNEWPhilly. I think we're in a midst of a sort of relaunch, refresh on what we're going to really approach the world as. As you can see, I got the co-creator space logo below me, so a lot of evolving for the MyNEWPhilly brand. But again, really amazing people at the top, and again, super excited to have you in my circle here. So the one thing I want to do is I want to ask you 3 questions. Everyone gets 3 random questions, Kai. So This is how people on LinkedIn and whatever platforms they're watching on really get to know who you are. So you're going to give me a random number, a 3-digit number, and the number's got to be different. So I'm going to ask you a question that corresponds with each one of those random numbers. So what is your number, Kai?
So you said I got to pick 3 numbers.
Yep, or a 3-digit number, and all the numbers got to be different.
So I can't do 222.
No. The only number you can do is 000 because 0 is random, and that means I get to pick the question.
Well, let's do that for the first one. Go ahead.
Let me write it down. 000. All right. So let's see here. Well, as we know, 0 is random. So I'm going to give you. Ooh, there's a lot of good ones, and I know you too, so that makes this more interesting on which one I'm going to ask you.
Hit me off.
I'm curious about this. What skill set did you gain or improve during quarantine?
What skill set did I gain or improve during quarantine? During quarantine, I guess if you can call it a skill set, or you know where I'll go there. I'll go here. I was getting busy on Canva during the quarantine, so that could be a skill set, because prior to that I didn't really dibble dabble with it. That was more so Zack's forte. He's the Canva king. I proclaimed him, but I did an ebook. I was doing constant flyers for Oh That's Love, me and Tasha show, and BayFit, our fitness program. So I'm one of them Canvaers to be reckoned with these days. You know what I'm saying?
And I can contest to that because we use the same Canva account and I see everything you're doing. So yeah, I'll give you some props on that front.
There we go.
Another random question.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one. Looking ahead, what's something major you hope to accomplish in the next 2 years?
Oh, that's an easy one. A film or television placement. That's pretty much what my main focus is right now. Am I super dark? I know I got the sun.
I'm about to say you're not gonna get no credits as a lighting expert. That's for that. Sure.
Because you know what it was. I was directly in it, and then.
But you moved in it. You weren't there to start.
Yeah, because it was streaky. My table's glass, so the way it was before, it was bouncing into my eyes.
The streaks was kind of popping though.
They was popping. All right, I'll give you the streaks back.
So give me that again. So you plan on doing what now?
A film or television placement is number one. That's paramount. So back to why I created Focus Studios, right? I didn't create Focus Studios to become this hella sought out videographer that I am now, which I don't want to downplay, because I made great money being a videographer, but I got in the game to be the showman that I am. If you're around me, Zack will attest to, I'm always being silly. I'm always making jokes. I'm always, just a fun guy. I just like being that funny guy. Like, I love writing. I love acting out characters. Zach will tell you, like, what was the aunt character I used to do on real estate shoots, and you used to love it behind the scenes, and I'll be acting like the crazy aunt, like that. I'll tell you one thing. Over the quarantine, that's one thing that really I got to get in tune with. And my partner helped me with that too, Tosh, because she's just as silly as me and encouraging about my nonsense. So like it just hits different when like you're doing that nonsense and people are kind of like either shutting you out or, you know, not really enjoying it or whatever. But she's like just as corny and silly as me, and like it makes her laugh. And it just put me in a happy place. So I just had to refocus. Once again, there you go, Focus Studios. I had some time to just sit and think and be like, damn, I didn't pick up a camera and learn lighting and sound and editing and the whole nine to just keep doing it for other people and you know, of course they're paying me, but there's a point in life where for me anyway, money isn't everything. I believe in fulfilling your passion. I think money will come when you're fulfilling your passion, but my passion is creating, you know, and being in that content that I'm creating. I like to act and I like to write and direct. So now, you know, the pandemic has really shifted my focus to get to the point where, you know, I'm still taking videography jobs. I'll still be shooting weddings and things like that. But the days are numbered on that type of thing. I want to do, you know, more teaching and, you know, make my money that way. But I want to really focus on and spend some money on creating some TV shows, some films. I just wrapped a feature film maybe 30, 40 days ago.
Right. Congrats on that.
It's called Work Bay. We're slated to start promoting it toward the beginning of July and release it in August. So that's really, you know, I know super long answer for that question, but that's a big goal of mine, is to just keep pumping out some longer form content. I'm doing a game show at the end of this month, just a pilot, and we're going to be shopping them around. So that's my goal. Two years from sitting here, I have to have something placed on a major TV or streaming platform.
Got it. And that's awesome. That's great goals to have, and I know you'll get there. Last question, and because you were being wild simple and did the 3 zeros, I'm gonna keep it wild simple. I gave you 2, I gave you 3, and now I'm gonna give you question number 4. But before I ask, I'm gonna give you a chance to move your computer again, because that little string or whatever's hanging down is
the streak. You said the streaks was popping. Now you don't like the streaks.
Well, I mean, that's not what the streak looked like the first time. That looked like a string is hanging down in front of your face.
It's the sun streak, brother. I'll see if I can move my.
It's odd. While you're adjusting yourself, your last question: what's one of the biggest hurdles you've overcome or didn't overcome, and what have you learned from it?
Biggest hurdles I overcame or didn't overcome. I think the best answer that I'll say to that is going to refer back to MyNEWPhilly. I think that being very transparent, MyNEWPhilly has never been, in our 5 years, a company that made a ton of money. We've been the definition of ebb and flow. And that ebb and flow is basically ebb and flow that spelled out run our business. How are we going to run our business? Run our business? How are we going to run our business? And I say being very transparent because that's beneath the surface. And even as I say that, I know a ton of entrepreneurs. I know a ton of business owners. And I know that everything that glitters ain't gold. And even though people seem to be doing very well on the surface, which I'm sure people saw MyNEWPhilly and you know, people thought we were rolling in the dough, bringing in millions and had deals with this and that company and stuff like that. But it's a journey and it's a struggle. And I think one of the biggest mistakes or hurdles that we had was, how do we get paid for teaching? I think a lot of people don't realize that what MyNEWPhilly was at its core was this place where you could come and fail. To go back to Zach's original quote with Michael Jordan and failing until you succeed. MyNEWPhilly was this place that I wanted to have when I first started Focus Studios, but I couldn't find anywhere. So I created it, right? And that was a creative space, a space that had high ceilings and lighting, that had a psych wall and a green screen, that had, the state of the art cameras and lighting and sound and the whole nine. And I could just come play with it. That's all I wanted to do. I could just come play with it. And even more than play with it, we're going to line you up with shoots with big Philadelphia businesses, companies, and brands, athletes, entertainers, celebrities. We're going to place that content on a platform that's well known throughout the city. So now you're a content creator out of the blue who's maybe never done anything before, and you have an immediate publishing credit that pops up on Xfinity.com, that pops up on KimmelCenter.org, that pops up on the Malcolm Jenkins Foundation.org. All of these different companies that we've worked with, now you have immediate credits and you have immediate projects that you can say that you've worked on to bolster your resume, to bolster your social media, whatever it may be. That's what I wanted. That was exactly what I wanted. That was the ideas that went into MyNEWPhilly. So where we failed and the hurdle that we had was, how do we make money while teaching these folks? Because that's the aspect that was, I'd say, at least 60%, 50, 60% of what MyNEWPhilly was we got to train these people up. These people are coming through the door and don't know how to work a camera, or like Zack. Zack's not the first person that came through and the content bug bit them, but they came through to do something else. But now they're a fledgling camera person or editor or whatever it was because they were exposed to it. But in that interim, now we got to replace somebody in their position, right? Now we got to train someone up from scratch. And we just never really figured out how to make money while in that process. And it wasn't anything that we wanted to change. We just needed to figure out how to monetize it, because like Zack said, like he mentioned, Adiane Datil. Adiane's on daytime TV now. She's one of the people that came through us and worked her tail off to build her reel and to expose herself to different, platforms and what have you, and had the talent and the look and the charisma and everything to become what she is. But when she leaves, MyNEWPhilly has nothing, right? But we have to be able to monetize her growth ourselves. So that's where now the hurdle that jumping that hurdle includes us creating a nonprofit arm. Finally, that's something that we talked about year one. We talked about going in that direction, and we held off because we kind of thought we'd be able to do some other things and make some other moves. Which we were not to some of the grander scale that we'd hoped. But the nonprofit at least gives us a way to say, look, we're going to be more consistent. We're going to do more teaching. We're going to bring in more people, and the people that are, for giving their time and their expertise for to be direct about it are going to be paid for that. So there's these people like myself, Vernon Ray, Adiane, somebody that came back to host one of our workshops, Zack, Ebony. There's people in different leadership positions at MyNEWPhilly that have never been compensated for their teaching. And even as I say, never, not unless we got another grant to do that. So that's a big hurdle that I think had we jumped a lot earlier in our business, we'd have a lot more money in the bank, because we wouldn't have had to spend that money that we did make, because we'd have it for our teachers. And it just would have furthered us along a lot, just being able to have that, because that's what we want to do. We want to teach creators and have them go on to be them best selves outside of MyNEWPhilly. That was always the model and the vision. Right. But how to monetize that, I think we dropped the ball on.
Gotcha. And thanks for the insight. I think a lot of people don't know the behind workings of brands that they see. And I know we were very visible and still are visible in the Philly area. So it's great to give people sort of a look behind the curtain, and to let people know we ain't going away. We just shuffling and we coming right back at you. So really excited for the second chapter for MyNEWPhilly.
Right.
But this has been great, Kyree. I do appreciate you coming on board. I will say one other thing before we let you close the show. For folks that don't know, Kyree is my cousin.
You always pull that one out.
Did not know this when we started working together. We didn't find out until maybe a year and a half ago. Something around that ballpark, through marriage.
I was
but
about to say it's through marriage. So did it happen whilst working together, or were they already married?
no, this could have happened probably when we were kids,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, this
They've been
that
married.
marriage goes way back. This is aunties and uncles getting married, and yeah, we found out that we were related when your mother's attending a funeral that I'm going to, and we're just like, hey, we met before. But yeah, crazy scenario. It's a small world. But I appreciate you going from a client to a friend to a cousin, and now you my brother. You my guy.
Right.
Um,
Next.
so listen, folks, make sure you're connecting with Kyree on LinkedIn. He's going to be on LinkedIn more. I'm going to see to it. But of course, follow him on Instagram, on Facebook, and all. Like once you follow, there's other things you have to follow from there. So make sure you're hitting him up on all platforms. He just disappeared on me. So let's see if he comes right back. I want to have him close the show. You know what? I have a feeling. Oh no, he did pop back. I was about to say, I think his phone died. I don't know.
No, I'm on my laptop. I thought I was hitting log into LinkedIn when you said that, but
Oh
apparently,
no, he's trying to do it in the moment. Look at him. He's on here trying to get it.
sorry.
I'll give you a LinkedIn tutorial just like I can do on Canva as well.
Yeah, I need
I'll bring you
LinkedIn
up to
help.
speed. But make sure you're following him on all his social platforms. Again, it's like a black hole. Once you go to his account, then you're gonna start learning about the focused and the weddings and the Bay brand, and like you're just
About
gonna
to get
keep
crazy.
finding more stuff to
It's
watch.
about to get crazy. I'm about to
He's
call
basically his own little YouTube.
it's about to be
No,
content. I'm keeping it coming.
Content Kai. Make sure you follow Content Kai. If you need anything from me, by all means, you see my email at the bottom, info at Rebel Hill Consulting. Always happy to chat with people about ways to grow their brands, or if you need to produce a show like this for yourself, happy to help you out with that as well. But again, thank you for tuning in to another Zoom In with Zack, and I'm going to pass it over to Kai to close the show.
Oh, I get to close the shizzo. Say mo. That mean I gotta say mo. Nah, I appreciate it, Zach. I appreciate you bringing me on, and any viewers who are still tuned in. All I want to do is make sure you guys follow me at Kyree Terrell. Make sure you follow me on YouTube and Instagram. You can find me at Kyree Terrell on either. I also have an account called The Pro Lover. What I'm doing right now, June, is I am producing like crazy because I plan to get very, very consistent with my content creation that features me, that stars me. All right. So I got a lot of different comedy skits, some drama skits, things like that. And then I have a lot of film and TV projects that I'll be working on. So please, if you enjoy laughing, if you enjoy a little drama, if you enjoy a little love, relationships, dating, and sex content, check me out because that's what I'm going to be bringing you guys' way. And once again, I appreciate it, Zach. Thanks for having me on, man. Zooming with Zach, Kyree Terrell. I'm out. I guess I just hit this button, close the show.